Hey guys, uh, I skipped 2 days. I skipped 2 nights of shaving. Uh, just schedule and tiredness and things like that. And look, I might as well be green screened right now, floating head. I've got a green shirt on with a green background. Um, so we've got 3 days of growth to shave off. Uh, and I guess it works out that I was going to use this Wolfman today. It is the 85 gap, and I still get enough blade feel from it to where I feel like I'd love to try an even lower gap, but they don't really have any yet because he's so busy working through his wait list. Also, we have the Craving Shaving handle on under a Maggard SHD bulb, not 26 millimeter, I think. Get that back in the water. It's been soaking for a few minutes. And then we're going to see how this Israeli red works in this razor. Not really a fair trial due to the amount of hair that I have, so there's going to be some tugging. So maybe we'll repeat this same combo in the near future. And then, like my last shave, I mentioned this one. This is the Dracula edition of Dr. Jon's seasonals for 2020, and Death or Glory, and he's got a kind of a vintage mashup of the vintage World War II propaganda type artwork with the monster theme. And the last one was the Wolfman, and so today is Dracula. 4 ounces vegan shave soap. Version 3 is what I understand. I'm sure you can't read it if I hold it too close. First one, the Wolfman from the other day, reminded me how good this base is. It's just spectacular. And it took a whole lot of water, so I won't be hesitant. Won't be shy with that today. Get my face wet. And let's also put that blade in the razor. I do have this one marked with an M for marathon because I want to see how far this one will go. That's what it looks like. I put some dots on there just to kind of be identifiers and give it a little bit of a signature. So this is a Wolfman WR2, 85 gap, and these 4 posts right there, among other things, help to really make sure you're just going to have a perfectly aligned blade every time. And so I believe that having a razor like that is going to just mow through my multiple day stubble. It's, like I said, I wish it was just a little smoother so that I could, with these more expensive razors, I really prefer to have them be such that I can enjoy them every single day in a really smooth way. I don't mind having those that are more balanced, where they maybe have a little bit more efficiency to them. But the ones that I pay a lot for, to be able to have them for decades, pass them on to my son, that sort of thing, I prefer to have them on the smooth side. At least that's been my thinking lately. All right, so let's go with a 25-second load. I believe yesterday's 30-second load produced more lather than we needed. Lots of water in this knot, which is a good thing. All right, so 25, 20 rolled around right there, so that means we can go to 45, but I waited 1 second longer, so we'll go to 46 for a 25-second load. And I may wash my face with some of this lather beforehand, since it has been 3 days and my face might have a excessive amount of facial oils to deal with today, and that might defeat about any lather. Give the soap more of a fighting chance. Okay, I had some Stirling bar soap around and I gave my face a quick wash. This doesn't look like a whole lot. If it turns out not to be a whole lot, we can just go back to the puck for a little bit more soap. I'm just going to go ahead and pop 2 teaspoons of water in there. The other brush just may have had tips that picked up more soap. The rose note on this one seems to be the most dominant part of the 4-note accord. He also said there was some dirt, some wood, and some blood. Some different descriptions mention dried blood or salty blood. So take from that what you will. Maybe the salt is really the element that he's trying to tune in here. And I definitely get that the rose being the biggest noticeable part. And then maybe a little bit of wood, but the rose may be twice as strong as the wood. And then do I pick up what was the other note I mentioned? Rose, wood, earth. The earth, I don't know if I'm picking that up or not, but it's certainly behind the wood somewhere. And then do I have the salt? Maybe. It might be akin in strength to perhaps that non-woody note that I mentioned that I can't quite keep in my head. Blood or salt, wood, rose, earth, dirt. Obviously with the vampire theme, and look at that. We just kept adding water, 3 teaspoons of water, and what did not look like very much lather certainly looks like it's going to be enough now. Now, of course, I did load for 5 seconds less than before, but I believe that's probably the difference here is probably should be attributed to the brush. Just not picking up quite as much. Maybe I shook out a little bit too much water. You know, there's some variables there. All right, let's just try to use what we have and see what happens. I can always go back and kind of treat it like a face lather. So the obvious theme here with the Dracula type notes. I don't often gravitate toward feminine scents. However, this one, the rose, it's being tempered with those kind of earthy elements. So I wonder if it's going to not feel as feminine. Get water on my face. Even though the rose is a dominant part of it. But what I've discovered is that one of the things that the rose scent often brings to the table that I enjoy is a sweetness. Man, I have got more stubble on here than I usually do. And so sometimes, if you get some bitter notes, seems to be a neat tool that the perfumers can use to offset it with maybe a little bit of the rose, the sweetness. I am going to get back in here. I'm kind of feeling this dye a little bit. So let's go back just for a few seconds, as you saw. Let's see what happens here. Yep, it's thickening up. Since it was pretty wet to begin with, I didn't feel like I needed to also go back and add in some more water to the mix. Sometimes when I have to go back in and add soap, like I just did, I cannot fail to also add the water because it's very easy to add too much soap. Got to have a little bit of water to compensate and help things out. This brush has a lot of backbone to it due to the density. I even mounted this knot as high as it could go, another millimeter or two higher, and then you'd be able to see the glue disc at the bottom of the knot. So, there we go. I think I brought in just the right amount of soap. I haven't made it too dry. It's not going to look great because I've got so much stubble. It's interfering with kind of the creamy look and all that stuff. One of my favorite things to do is take a 3 or 4 day shave and just use a simple, inoffensive, even smooth razor and show that people just think that I've got to use this kind of razor for this, and I need an open comb and all this stuff, and you don't usually. Although if you got a big collection, why not use them for that? And so I don't mean to pee on anybody's Wheaties there. All right, let's see what the is right now. We got a lot of stubble, so what I'm going to focus on is just kind of getting over it one time, not working it really hard, not buffing a lot, going over the same area multiple times. Just kind of pretending as if it was a normal shave. I'm not getting very much tugging, and so this seems to be a pretty good combo. This blade can and has given me a little irritation buildup during the shave with some of the different razors I've tried it with. Now, what I usually experience is that in a shave like this, where we've got so much stubble to deal with, it's not really all that much of a problem because it just usually means that you have a little bit more stubble left over on that from that first pass than you might normally, and it just gives the second and third passes more hairs to enjoy. Yeah, see, look at this lather. That's the way it's supposed to look. Creamy, nice. So it just doesn't have the stubble kind of getting in the way and making it look all rough. Lather feels great too. Dr. Jon's is a good soap, even considering that it's vegan. I think it competes nicely with any soap out there. Now we'll go ahead and pretending that first pass was fine and normal. Go ahead and proceed on as if we're going to do our normal cross grain pass, and I think the second pass will just easily pick up the slack. It feels like it is. Nice and slick. This is the normal heavy handle. I have a hollowed out version of this handle that I think in general, if I had to choose, I would go ahead and go with that one. And so maybe I'll ditch this one because I mean they're a little pricey. All right. I got a feeling that the first pass didn't get as much as the normal first pass does, but that's because we had so much growth. The second pass, I believe, has brought me to the normal place after a second pass normally gives me in terms of stubble length and stuff. So I expect the third pass will piece of cake as usual. So let's think about the scent here and the scent strength as we have moved forward in our shave. As I think a lot of times something that is a good measure of the strength is what are my memories of it during the first two passes. And not very much. Pleasant, light, kind of sweet and rosy, but with some neat pieces in it that keep it from really being ultra feminine. Let's see what we get now when we stick our nose in the mix. Sometimes the chords will change over time as the top notes burn off. Sometimes I think it changes just because your own perception. Your nose gets used to certain pieces of it more easily than others. No, it's pretty much the same. I am starting to, though, pull out the wood. But it's very soft. It's very nuanced. It's only because I'm burying my nose in this bowl. Now, those of you who like to have drier lathers than I do are going to be using more product, and so your potency is going to be stronger there. I would assume. I've almost become nose blind to the rose, which is kind of cool. A hint of the salt, only because I know it's there. I wouldn't be able to know it otherwise. But the wood, any earth? Not really. So it's very soft. I'd say 3 out of 10 in terms of scent strength. It's just not all that much there. Did I already do 3 passes? No, I didn't. I don't think I did. And I am going to be using up all the soap, basically, that's I can pull out of here. But it is going to be enough. Guarantee it. Because the brush still has some in it. Look at that. Plenty. You don't need gobs. Because all you really want is that nice, thin, lubricating layer up close to your skin. All the rest is just kind of luxury. The look of it, the feel of it, the cushion you might feel as you are rinsing and things like that. All that's just kind of luxury. All right, let's see how this razor does with this Personna Israeli Red. A little bit of blade feel still, and that's okay. Oh, the glide is just tremendous. It's just zipping around. That's very telling right there, this stroke here. I did not catch a hold of some of the sections around this area that I sometimes do get a hold of, and it really starts to stir up maybe a little bit of razor burn, and so I back off right away. But this worked well. Again, as always, a loose hold on the razor. You can see while I'm doing this kind of side over here, my hold is just, I'm still holding, as you can see, right in the middle of the razor, in the middle of the weight. I'm not trying to hold across the whole razor like that, because in my opinion, I want this thing to kind of glide over my skin surface, and by holding it near the center of mass, then it can move and pivot, and I'm just holding it close enough to hold it to my skin, and that's all. Not to press into my skin is my desire. And so when I do this stroke on the opposite side of my face, I'm often holding it in this type of grip. And then when I'm doing the near side of my face, I'm again holding it very close to the center of mass. And just being very gentle. And I can go fast because I've done it a lot. If you're new or working on your technique, especially if you've already established bad technique, go slow. Go real slow. Take your time. All right. I can remember the early days thinking 18 different things at once. Am I holding it properly? Is my angle correct? Is my pressure in and out correct? Am I holding it the right way this way? You're just having to think about, none of those things have become automatic yet. They haven't become muscle memory yet. And so you have to think of them all at once, and that's okay. That's the way it should be in the beginning. But gradually, with more experience, and especially if you go slow and you do it the way you want to do it, don't let yourself fall into bad habits, then all that stuff will start to fall into place. And those manual things you're having to think about will gradually slide into being automatic. And before you know it, so many things are automatic that everything happens without you having to think too much about it. I did put in about 3 teaspoons of water into this lather, and that seems to be about the right consistency. And I just went and loaded for just a few more seconds, so we could call it maybe a 28-second load with the 3 teaspoons of water. And the consistency's been very nice. The rinses have felt very good. The scent is on the weak side, and this could be a winner for some of you out there who like a kind of a light, earthy scent with a sweet rose forward part to it. The other notes are definitely background. I do get the woody note as a secondary note that is listed. Is the rose still there? It's still there. It's still there. But as the shave ages, and I guess most of you guys are not going to have shaves that last this long. I'm a long shaver. I tend to enjoy it and relax. And of course, as I'm talking to you, that uses up shave time and that kind of thing, or replaces shave time. And so I got a feeling that most of you aren't going to get to this point later in the shave where the rose starts to give way more to the woodiness. Now, because of that, and because it's not a high floral, it's more of a sweet floral that's being muted a little bit by the wood and the other notes a little bit. I might be able to be happy with this if I was kind of stuck with it, maybe. I'll have to leave it at that. And I have no irritation. I do have a little bit of redness. My skin is dried now in many places, but that's normal because I've kind of been talking to you for a few minutes. If I want to grab some lather, little lather dots from various sources, I can kind of get some of that slickness back. But no, we didn't have any irritation or from the blade. Of course, none with the brush. Those are really soft tips. So let me get a good rinse and we can see what kind of result we had today. Yeah, for me, very nice. I don't go against the grain. That's just what I can't do. And even with that, I got a really nice close shave. A few tips here. Got some length on them. I could do another touch-up pass if I want, but I don't. Yeah. This is a ratio, probably a little on the wet side of perfect for me. Very slick, very fast, protective. I've just got no weepers, of course. Anything like that. I don't have any tenderness. And this is a blade that has produced tenderness, definitely, with other razors. And this is not the mildest razor that I have. So the soap was definitely acting and protecting as it should, as any good soap should. So this is one, I don't think I'm going to keep this one around, but I was really intrigued by the notes. And that's something that Dr. Jon often brings to the table. I'm going to wipe out some of this threading here, keep soap build up from that. He sometimes I'll make a blind purchase from Dr. Jon's just because he's got some really interesting, I like where his head's at with many of the scents that he develops. And who knows if the wood and the dirt would have been a little bit more elevated. Maybe the salt too, who knows? But it just seems like the rose was at this level, the wood was maybe half that or even lower, and then the see, I'm having trouble with that third note. The salt is kind of an accent that I'm not really getting very much at all. Earth. Under the wood is the earth. And if those bottom guys were competing a little bit more with the rose, then this could be something really intriguing. And that's, I don't mind taking a chance with Dr. Jon's because of that, because you never know. Some of his scents are on the lighter side, but I really like his creativity. I like what he tries, because sometimes, man, he just lands right on the money. I think I'm really enjoying that Wolfman. I kind of feel a little bit of craving to return back to it. That's always a good sign. It was interesting, kind of animalistic, a little bit musky, but very usable. It wasn't too heavy. And so that one, and of course I do like a lot of his artwork on a lot of good his soaps. For a while now I've liked them. All right, well folks, there we are. Oh yeah, I'm curious, what about some oud? Oud has been a part of many shaving accords, and I believe there are some rose and oud type scents out there. Oud and wood, of course, are there. And so I thought maybe some Agar from Stirling, which is basically an oud type scent, I thought would be a good one. So let's give it a shot. So I was really happy with the way the razor worked with the blade. I think it's going to, because of the way it didn't build up any irritation, I think it's going to be a good match. Holy cow. I was right. This is working so well with the pieces of that soap, the wood and the rose. Holy cow. It's like this magical match. I've got to unscrew with my balmy fingers. That's terrific. Wow. That's the match right there. Matter of fact, maybe take a little half scoop of this soap, combine it with a half scoop of Stirling Agar, something like that, who knows. That is a wonderful, wonderful match, because I told you this earlier, often the sweetness of the rose can be companioned with something on the opposite of the sweet spectrum, and oud can be one of those types of scents. And then the oud is also amplifying the woodiness that's in the soap that we have here. Death or Glory. Death or Glory. Wow. Now, that's almost good. That is good enough to where I'm really reconsidering getting rid of this soap. Make a note to follow it with an oud scent like the Agar. That is interesting. How about that? See, that's why we do this. We play around, try different things, especially when I get a scent that is a good component scent, like the Agar. It's not trying to be too complex, and it's almost made specifically for coming up after a shaving soap and adding that woody nuance to it. That's really nice. Little happy surprise. Okay, I'm going to clean up. Here's what this Maggard knot looks like. That guy's not one that's come loose. He just sticks out a little farther. High density, super high density according to the name, and I would agree. Glad that I mounted it super high. I love the softness of the tips, and as long as I can just keep it open really wide like this, then the interior density doesn't play too bad with shoving me around too much. Oh man, it's like my memory of the rose and the other parts of the scent during the shave my memory is combining with what my nose is smelling right now. It's really cool. I think this might be the 7th or 8th use of this blade. If you're really curious, just look into the description of the video. So it's still giving me great shaves. Most blades I've found are easily going to be able to go to 10 and 20 and 30. So I don't expect anything different of this one. I definitely have some, like a Personna Platinum, I think, that has already gone that far, and I don't think this is going to be any different. Really cool. Now, as I'm getting used to this scent, I'm still enjoying it, but I don't know that it's enough to, and I am impacted by the very interesting dynamic that has happened with it. But as I think of all the great scents that we also have available to us, even though this is intriguing and was really kind of surprising, seems like a discovery, you know. I don't know that I would keep it around just for that, but maybe. All right. I think we're good. I think we're all packed up. So I was thinking that maybe this blade would stir up a little bit of irritation because this razor is not one of the smoothest that I have, but the razor still holds the blade really well, and I think the lather protected well, and so it was a good combo with that. The soap, really interesting. You know my feelings about that by now. The brush did have some density due to the some backbone due to the density, and so it's not quite as nice as some of the other brushes that I've got going on, but I still am interested in putting some more uses on it and seeing what happens. I've got it fixed into that handle with silicone, and so that's good because I definitely enjoy the handle, the ergonomics of it, and all that. Definitely be keeping that handle even if I choose somewhere down the line not to keep the knot. All right, well, excellent. I am gonna enjoy smelling myself until I hit the sack with this good stuff in place, and a nice close shave too. I hope that there's something here that's going to help you out with your shaving. Sorry for the missed shaves, but sometimes it's good to have something a little bit different than a 24-hour shave. Sometimes you learn different things, and of course I'm not sorry for my priorities in this case with family and job, and having to put those ahead of shaving in this type of way. And but you know, I keep doing that same thing where I'm really tired at the end of the day, and I have had to go back and do some work or something, and I think, you know what, I'm just going to rest my head a little bit. Never works. I'll rest my head a little bit, and then I'll go shave and enjoy a good shave, and it never works. I rest my head for a little bit, and then I wake up the next morning. Hey, that's what it goes. And who knows, maybe little lulls like this are good to help shaving to be less monotonous, because you can, get used to it every day. And so we'll just try to find those silver linings. All right, guys, take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Till next time.